Hey there, meteorologist Jamey Singleton, bringing you a very crude and somewhat shaky video weather update from my iPad. That seems to be the easiest way I can do it and get it uploaded on YouTube the fastest. So we'll go with the easiness of it and the quickness of it because it's just that much simpler than sitting at a TV station and rendering something out fancy. But I do want to get some points out across to you here. We are looking still at a major storm that'll be moving up the East Coast, first as a hurricane, then as a nor'easter, or some kind of hybrid, maybe in between, for the weekend into early next week. All up and down the East Coast is going to be affected, and that will include our area. That being said, our area is not going to bear the brunt of this, it doesn't appear, but over the course of today, things have changed. And I've put a lot out there on Facebook and Twitter. A lot of you, since, are getting kind of scared. What should I do? What's going on? And I don't want to create panic. But I do want you to be safe, and I do want you to know all the possibilities, and do want you to know what's going on. Let's go into what's going to happen right now. All right. Basically, if you've been following this, and in case you haven't, been under a rock maybe the past couple of days, there are two systems that we're watching. One down here across Jamaica, that is Hurricane Sandy, winds of 80 miles an hour. And here's a look at Sandy today. Looking pretty impressive. A strong hurricane will cross Cuba and enter the Bahamas for tomorrow. There it is on this map down here at the lower part of your screen. The other is a big dip in the jet stream, a lot of energy out across the west, and you're looking at 130 to 145 knot winds coming in here. So that's some high wind. The reason I point that out is when you have a dip in the jet stream like this, when the higher wind, you see the scale there? When the higher wind is on the west side, it can push this dip even farther to the south. In other words, it will transfer more energy into this dip. And I've got a forecast here that shows what happens with time. This is actually the GFS, which is one of the computer models that doesn't quite give us the intensity of what the European is. In time it does, actually, but not as fast. Look what happens over the course of the next several days. That dip in the jet stream, you kind of have to follow it there, starts to buckle, starts to sharpen right there. See that sharpness? And that's what will pull Sandy inland at some point and interact with the storm, creating its own storm. Again, this is one computer model. This is the GFS, and actually is probably one of the models that a lot of folks aren't looking at that much. I'm looking more at the European model and some of the other models in between, but it gives you the idea. Okay, and the other thing that gives you the idea, we talk about a hurricane like Sandy here. This is a heat engine. There is an incredible amount of energy contained in any tropical system. That's why they create themselves, to get rid of excess heat energy from the tropics. So this is basically a heat engine combining with Arctic air. The end result is going to be a very strong jet stream, a very dynamic structure. Energy has to be created from that temperature contrast. It's a rule of thermodynamics. And you can see our surface temperatures here as we go through the next several days. This is off the GFS. So here comes our cold front for the weekend. It kind of gets stuck over us, and then finally the colder air wraps around the system. But just gives you an idea of the colder air that's going to be filtering in, and that depending on where exactly the low center forms and goes and where the two systems merge will depend on who sees some snow. And yes, I did say snow from this system. We'll go over here and show you simulated radar. This is off the NAM model this afternoon. Bottom line is the coast is going to get nailed. Look at this. Florida, the Atlantic coast through Savannah, all the way up to Myrtle Beach, Wilmington, definitely fair game. The Outer Banks, Cape Hatteras, and Virginia Beach, Chesapeake Bay, all could have a strong effect from this system. Look how wide the system is. And I want to show you too the wave heights, rip currents, wave heights, flooding along the coast. Coastal flooding is going to be just epic with this system. You're looking at 20, 25, 30, 35 foot seas here in the white. And again, you can see how different models handle this differently, but essentially, eventually, ultimately, it will be brought inland here. So that's a big issue, and one of the things I wanted to talk to you a little bit about in this video. Normally we see a hurricane, and the stronger it gets, in other words, as the wind increases, it kind of condenses and gets smaller. So you have, compensating for stronger wind, you have a smaller area of that higher wind. This ain't going to happen with this system. This is going to be a hybrid type system, so it's going to get help from the jet stream. Instead of the jet stream weakening it, it's going to use the jet stream to make it bigger and make the wind around it just as strong farther away from the center. So this will be a very large, far-reaching storm, and if anything, if I have anything I want to interject into this forecast, is that the wind may be underplayed Monday and Tuesday. Whether you believe the European model or the GFS, whatever you're listening to, there is going to be a huge storm out there. That's a big hole in the atmosphere, and we have to fill that hole with air. We have to balance that out. That's where we get the wind, and we're going to have a lot of it, I think, early next week. The way I see this panning out here locally is going to start out nonchalant. Another nice day tomorrow. Highs around 80 for Thursday. Friday, clouds will increase ahead of Sandy. And then Saturday, the front comes in. By that time, Sandy's moving up north of the Bahamas. But we are still not feeling the direct effects of Sandy at that point. We'll just have a couple of showers around Saturday. Sunday, the jet stream becomes a little more involved here. I'm put it back on this image right here, and by Sunday, right there, that streak that you see developing, that could enhance rainfall. So we may see more than just showers on Sunday, and then depending on, by that time, Sandy's going to start to become less tropical and more like a nor'easter. Depending on where that happens will depend on how much rain we see Sunday night going into Monday. The European model today went crazy and is calling for a near Category 4 storm off the Virginia coast. Not buying it just yet, but it's a trend that we may have to watch. Keep this in mind, folks. We're talking what, Monday? So we have 4 or 5 days to change that forecast, to watch it and make sure it's not going to happen or is going to happen. So don't panic just yet. Just know that's a possibility on one of the computer models. And I will say that all of the models today, instead of curving Sandy and the storm off to the east, have gone closer to the coast. That has my attention as well. But the local effects here, again, I'm not going to change too much right now. Clouds increasing Friday, showers Saturday, steadier rain Sunday, windy Monday and Tuesday. That's the biggie here. That's going to be my big selling point with this. I think we'll have winds probably over 40 miles an hour. And then you're looking at maybe some West Virginia snow. In fact, the National Weather Service has said, hey, West Virginia, Greenbrier Valley, West Virginia, this is what you're looking at coming up, even in the maybe Tazewell County. This is Monday morning. Very interesting to see that. And that's just other stuff I could show you here real quickly, just to compare some of the models. If you looked at, pardon the jogging, Monday on the GFS, okay, you see the light rain in green over our area, the storm off the coast. The European model, much stronger, and actually going into DC. That's one of the scenarios. Others are just kind of in between. So very active, to say the very least. Anytime you see warm air getting wrapped to the north of a storm and the cold air getting wrapped all the way to the south, that, my friend, is one very healthy storm. So this is going to be historic. It's going to happen. We're going to see some effects from it. Just the details of those effects are going to have to be fine-tuned. So no reason to panic just yet, but it's looking more and more significant for the area. And I'll be giving you more updates on Twitter and on Facebook. See ya.